Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of New Stuff TV, your spot for infotainment for the average consumer. Look, we just got back from New Jersey, LG's headquarters, man, and it was a time, let me tell you. First of all, it was cold AF over there, but it was good because we got to see their new stuff, man, and that's what I wanted to tell you about, man. It was a nice little trip there, but they got some new stuff and they are coming out hard. If you go to their website right now, you'll see a handful of their new stuff, which is going to be their new G6 and C6, which comes in two models, which we'll discuss, and some of their audio products. But just hang tight, man, and I'm gonna go through the line because I want to share with you what I saw and how I felt about it. So first off, let's jump into the C series OLED, and we're gonna start off with the C6 because this bad boy starts off at 42 inches and caps off at 65 inches, and it is going to be a slight upgrade from last year's C5. But then we move up into the C6H. What's the H for? I don't know, maybe higher size, because this one starts out at 77 inches and then it goes all the way up to 83 inches. But maybe they slapped on that H for higher brightness, because this one does use LG's brightness booster technology combined with their hyper radiant technology, and that's going to get you that much closer to a G series TV, which makes me wonder, how does this G6 or C6H compare to last year's G5? That would be a nice little competition, right? But since we talked about the G series and how much closer you are in a C to a G, let's go ahead and jump into that G6. Now don't worry, there's not two different variants of this one. You go from 55 inches to 97 inches, which caps off at 25K. So if you got a whole bunch of money burning a hole in your pocket, you go ahead and get yourself a 97-inch G6. They are touting improved brightness over the G5, which was already a brilliant TV. But of course, they did improve upon a bunch of other things, but most notable is the reduction in banding over last year's model and some competitors' models. Man, they was kind of crapping on some other models TVs, man. It was pretty embarrassing what I was seeing with some of the competitor stuff as far as banding. You know, when colors, you know, like on a beach sunset or something like that, how the color grades from lighter to darker. The G6 was performing really well over its competitors. But now we get to talk about some really new stuff, which is RGB technology. I know RGB technology is so old school. It's 2025 ago, you know, but here we are in 2026 where we're seeing you know, some of the top dogs unleash their MicroRGB and their mini RGB TVs, or did I say that right? Whatever, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so LG decided to unveil theirs, but not before they gave us a demo I ain't never seen before, man. They took a competitor's TV. I'm not going to disclose whose TV that was, but they ripped the front panel off. Let me tell you, man, to take somebody's multi-$1,000 TV, rip the front panel off, then show you how important processing is, because having RGBs as, you know, part of your backlighting system and, you know, having brightness is one thing, right? Brightness is king, right? No, brightness is just brightness until you start processing it correctly and controlling it. And that's what they were displaying with the competitors' TV versus OLED. Kind of just showing you that, I don't know if they were really trying to show us that OLED is still king, but that's what I got from that, you know, as far as like separating colors and black versus light or white. But this demonstration was really cool, man. You could see where they had like a white dot going across these colored lines. And as that white dot crossed over green, it took on a greenish hue. As it crossed over red, it took on a reddish hue. As it crossed over blue, it took on a bluish hue. But with the OLED TV, it didn't do any of that. And that's when I get to talk about how when we walked over into the next room where LG's MicroRGB TV was, that thing was 100 inches and it was commanding the room. The brilliance, the brightness, everything was just popping, man. It was just a beautiful, remarkable sight to see. They had it sitting next to one of their QNED Evos, and it was like, all right, yeah, that's great and all, you know what I'm saying? But look at this micro RGB right here. It was just a stunning TV, man. We were just all kind of salivating over it. But it just kind of makes you really understand how important processing is behind that panel, all the, you know, the computer brains, how important that is behind the TV, because you can have all the technology you want, but you gotta have the processing to tell everything what to do in real time as you're watching TV. So I know LG put a lot of man hours into processing of this TV, because that was a real bold thing for them to do, to just kind of out the competitor that way. So their processing and their pictures gotta look real stunning. But seriously though, this is all still really new stuff, and I don't think enough people have one of these types of TVs in their house to even really see the difference with their eyes just yet. So as this becomes more common, when those prices come down, we'll start getting real opinions from, you know, real consumers such as you. You know, I've actually become one of them at this point because I get to see so many TVs. So I'm one of them, so I can nitpick at stuff. But regular customers who are buying these TVs, that's gonna be on you, man. So save your coins, you know, because I don't think these prices are coming down like this year. And for all you OLED purists, don't worry, man. Y'all aren't quite under threat just yet, but man, it's getting close. You better hang on tight, you OLED purists. It's coming for you. So once we got done marveling over that MicroRGB, we turned around and we saw this nice, and I do mean nice, 83-inch Wallpaper TV. Dude, Wallpaper is back, baby. It was LG's 83-inch W6 OLED with that hyper radiant technology for that extra brightness. I was really impressed by this TV, especially the way they had it set up looking all sexy and stuff. They had it flush mounted to this wall with these new brackets they have, but also it's so thin. Dude, it's like thin, and I think it's actually thinner than the remote it comes with. And speaking of remotes, all the new remotes have a much welcome feature now. It's about doggone time. It's a programmable favorites button. That's what's up. Now look, man, the TVs were stunning. I love looking at all the brilliant colors and everything, but you know, the thing that always gets me is the sound. I'm a sound dude, man. That's what wraps up the package and brings it all home to you, man. So the star of the show for me was LG's Sound Suite demo. This demo they did, oh my goodness, I'll tell you about that in a second. But I gotta tell you about their new stuff. So first of all, we got the H7 soundbar, the M5 and M7 wireless speakers, and the W7 Soundwoofer. Dude, all this put together, the M5s and the M7s are like, you can use them as rear wireless speakers. Yeah, you can just do that if you want to, right? In conjunction with their soundbar, but you know, you can just have all this stuff, and I can't even like get it out, man. The demo was flawless. You know how you do stuff, like you'll go to a demo and they have a whole bunch of stuff that the product can do, and they're trying to show you in real time, and sometimes this stuff it doesn't work out because, you know, Wi-Fi ain't working, and you know, a bunch of hiccups and stuff. Man, this was the most flawless demo of some really complicated stuff. They were mixing matching speakers, and like, you know, not only is it more of a home theater setup with the soundbar and the TV and everything, but you can actually use these speakers as independents, or you can do them in stereo. They have to be two identical speakers to be stereo, but you can set up a whole home system, man. And then you can get on LG's ThinQ app and, you know, just kind of start doing stuff. And the dude was doing it in real time, and it was all working flawlessly. This is something I've been wanting in my home because my Google setup be tripping a lot. And these speakers sound way better than those little tiny Google speakers that I got. So, dude, that demo, I'm serious. I'm still loving the way that happened. I gotta get some of those for real. So the Sound Suite, that for me was the star of the show, and I know you guys are going to be excited about that because it gives you so much versatility when you're hooking up your sound to your TV. So if you got your 25K ready for your LG G6, your 83 or 97-inch G6 TV, you definitely gonna have to get this Sound Suite hooked up to. If you got any money left over, you can pull that off, or you could just get the Sound Suite and call it a day, man. Either way, I had a good time hanging out, you know, at the LG headquarters, seeing all their new stuff. And I think they actually got a couple of new items coming out this year too, but that's what we got to see there. And I'm excited for this RGB to like really hit the streets and like get some real solid hands on with it. And dude, I can't tell you enough how excited I am about this Sound Suite. Either way, I gotta go, man. I gotta go unpack my suitcase and wash my dirty clothes. But until I get back to y'all, keep being good to each other, and I'll see you when I see you.